Hey guys, we're back again for some more questions about our relationship.
Some more Q&As.
With Isaac and Bitti. This video is about how to stay Christ-centered in a relationship. So we have some questions on that today, and we're just going to answer a few of those for you guys. Probably not all of them since there's a lot. We're going to try to keep these videos a little bit shorter. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Let's go!
Why is it important to keep Christ at the center of your relationship?
We're eternal creatures, and whenever we look at satisfaction, we typically look at things that are very finite, and the only thing that can actually satisfy is infinite, right? So as eternal creatures longing for eternal solution, the only thing that our hearts and minds and souls can actually connect to is God in a way that satisfies us. And so when you turn to another person as the center of your relationship, they're only going to disappoint you because they're finite. By putting God there and then, living out of that infinite expression of God, infinite love, we can actually love deeper to those around us. And so, it's really just that connecting to really the source of who we are versus putting Elizabeth in that position, and it's just a lose-lose.
Yeah, I think we have experienced through different times in our relationship where we've actually put each other in that role, I think, and we've tried to get satisfaction out of each other by being there enough for each other, or by getting like our fill of identity from the other person, or being able to be encouraged by the other person, loved by the other person, and to kind of fill up that tank that we're needing God to fill. And Isaac and I have always been able to tell, I think, when we're doing that, just because the relationship becomes just harder and it gets more draining, and it just doesn't feel as life-giving as it does when we're seeking our identity in God before each other. And I think it can creep in sometimes. You don't always know that you're doing that, but I think the repercussions of doing that after a while are pretty obvious, because you're kind of just feeling irritated. You're feeling like that other person can't deliver on the things you want them to, and you're putting all your hope in that other person to make you feel okay, and they can't always make you feel okay. They're going to disappoint you, and you're going to disappoint them. And so when we realize we're doing that, we kind of take a step back and we reprioritize where our hearts are, we reprioritize what we're putting our worth and our identity in. And I think that's kind of like a constant thing we're having to realize and go back to throughout our relationship. So,
Word.
How do you grow together in Christ in a relationship?
For us, it's been reading specific books of the Bible or books about a concept, and on our own time, own devotions, our own personal walk with God, we reflect and kind of direct our conversation about what is something that we're learning and how do we learn together. And then through that, we're on the same page. So it's really trying to maintain this atmosphere of being on the same page, reading the same stuff, and growing in the same knowledge. I think that's been super helpful. And I think another big thing is just having time to pray and worship. I think it's been some of my favorite devotions where, it's just we turn on a worship song, we're praying, and then we just go straight into prayer. And it's amazing when you hear each other pray for other people, pray for each other, and pray for, different things going on in the world. You start getting this heart of, wow, it really opens up me spiritually to let's grow together in this, and just hearing your heart of your, spiritual walk with God. That's been super helpful.
Yeah, so too, I think it's really encouraging, when Isaac is, learning stuff about God, and he's getting into the Word and he's reading that and he's praying, and he is telling me about that. It encourages me a ton to stay consistent in that and to want that as well. And I think when I bring that stuff up with him, he's also encouraged, because it's really easy to get out of that habit. And so when we see the other person growing in that and really thriving and enjoying that, I think it encourages the other person to do that as well. Do you believe that you have grown in your own faith through dating one another? I definitely think that I have, especially because when we started dating, we were long distance. And so just emotionally, I remember that being really tough. And I know for me, when I'm going through hard times, my faith becomes so much deeper, and I'm just running to God a lot more. I'm praying a lot more. I'm recognizing my weaknesses and my vulnerabilities a lot more because they're more like in my face. I can't get away from them. And so I think through those 2 years of long distance, there were just so many days where I was just like, this sucks. Like, I feel lonely. I feel like isolated away from my boyfriend. I feel like I'm putting a lot out there, and it just feels scary because he's 8 hours away and I don't even, know what's going to happen in the future. And it just all felt very uncertain. And so I think because I felt shaky at times, it made me crave like that stability of my relationship with God that much more, and like having that foundation and my identity be in Him. So like I knew no matter what happens through this whole process, God is like my rock and like the one that like I'm running to, and like that first relationship that I've always had. And so long distance was just like a really good like faith exercise, I feel like, to be like, yes, this relationship is really great, but like it's also going to be challenging. And like if you're running to me and you're coming to me with your problems and your emotions and the hard parts and the scary parts, like I will fill you in those areas and I will like lead you forward. And so I think it helped me trust God a lot more, just because it was scary, and like I'd never dated anyone before and I was really fearful. And so in those moments, like I really trusted God.
I think, in the last few years, it's just been kind of a season of doubt, where, pursuing more knowledge of what the Bible is. And I grew up in a very strong Christian home with very strong roots of understanding the historical concepts of the Bible. And, there's a lot of things in the Bible that don't make total sense. And through our dating relationship, I lived in a lot of different states and had just a lot of interesting conversations. And just through that whole process of kind of discovering more myself, discovering myself in our relationship, being in different settings and environments, different career moves, there's just a lot of shaking. I think whenever one pillar shakes, there's a tendency to really re-examine everything in life. And so I think the biggest takeaway for just me in the last few years has been, in intense doubt, we turn to radical trust, which means that even if I don't have all the answers to what the Bible means, instead of going, okay, I'll doubt God's character, I'll actually lean more into trust. And I think that's the whole process of faith. And that's just something I've been learning a lot of. I don't have all the answers, and I never will. I'm not going to do everything perfect. That's just impossible. But leaning with this radical trust turns my weakness into, God, I need your strength. So I think that's just been kind of my key takeaway for the last few years of, wow, I don't have the capacity for this. I don't have the answers for this, but I'm not going to doubt and turn bitter. I'm going to lean into trust and faith. Boom.
I agree. Good job.
Guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you all next time.
Thanks for watching. Bye.